Right. So, hello everyone, and welcome to this session. So, NEET PG is so close by on August 3rd, and we are doing this session on July 31st. So, I thought I'll just share with you certain last minute tips just before you go to the exam hall. So, hello and good evening to all my dear students. I hope my audio and video is good. Can you please let me know in the chat box if everything is good and we are good to go? Please let me know in the chat box. Right. Good evening. So, this is going to be a very quick, brief session because I know how much valuable time is for you at this moment. So, what I'm just going to discuss with you over the next 15 to 20 minutes are some important frequently asked questions by the NEET PG aspirants close to the exam. So, I've just listed these questions so that we'll save time rather than wait for questions in the chat box. And in the end, I'll give you time. If you have got any queries, you can just type in the chat box so that I can respond to that. Okay. So let me just tell you to all my dear students, I know that it is time that you might have butterflies in your stomach. You might be feeling anxious. The D-Day is almost nearby, and it's quite natural to be a bit anxious. That's okay. And as faculties, we are here to guide you and just to calm you down. So I'm just going to tell you what you can probably do maybe for the next 2 days leading to the exam. So first of all, let me tell you, if you are someone who has put in good effort over the last several months, you can just stick to the plan. Whatever you have planned to read tomorrow and day after, just stick to that. Do not change. And most of you might have made a chote copy book of the last minute review points, maybe some volatile information, or maybe factual data, maybe the uh, topics that you're weak in certain subjects, maybe in pharmacology, like that. So the Choti Kopi book, please just go through it in the last couple of days, no doubt about it. And but if you are someone who has not prepared well, and or you are an intern who have just finished internship, I would suggest that you at least go through the recall videos before you go to the NEET PG exam. And there is one, a set of videos that I've done in the Doc Tutorials YouTube channel on the system wise recall of the NEET PG 2024 questions. We have done it in 3 parts. Please go through the system wise recall questions as well. They will definitely be helping you in your preparation for the last couple of days as well. Now, let me just tell you that, see, you've prepared for the last several months, but in the exam day, it's not just about the knowledge that you have, your mindset is also very, very important. And I want all my children from now on, for the next couple of days leading to the exam, have a mindset of winning assumption. What is this mindset of winning assumption? It's like you are manifesting success. You are manifesting success. You are thinking that, well, I'm going to do well. Yes, inside your mind, there are a lot of apprehensions, self doubt, but you will have to believe that August 3rd is going to be your day, the day where you are going to give your best grand test. Take it like that. Take it like a grand test, but believe that you're going to have your best grand test on August 3rd. The best score that you have ever scored in a grand test will be on August 3rd. Just manifest success. You can also manifest success in another way. because I know that many of you are aspiring physicians, surgeons, pathologists, orthopedicians, obstetricians, pediatricians. Just manifest yourself, maybe in a couple of months you are in the ward of a hospital, maybe in the medicine department or pediatrics department, wherever. Just manifest your dream and just think that yes, this exam is going to take me towards my goal. Have that positive thinking and a positive attitude with you. Okay, no matter whatever you feel inside, all those self doubts, just keep it aside. I want my students to understand that close to the exam you might have all these negative thoughts coming to you, but that is not good. You do not want to entertain any sort of negative thoughts, because if you entertain negative thoughts, what are these negative thoughts? The what ifs. What if I don't get selected? What if I don't perform well for the exam? What if all my friends get selected and I'm left out? All these what ifs, just remove it from your thought. You do not want to be thinking about that. Okay, so all my dear children should take this as just another grand test. And another point I want to tell all my children is that let's not have any sort of guilt, because I'm sure that many of you might get the feeling, sir, though the NEET PG exam got postponed, I don't think I made the best use of it, sir. I could have done better. So I don't know, sir. I think I have totally messed it up. I know that the same feeling happens to many candidates, but please understand that you have been preparing for many months, and ups and downs are bound to happen. But this is not a time for a critical, critical analysis of what you have done in the last several months. Again, I'll tell you, you surround yourself with positivity. Be uh, do not be too critical on yourself. I always tell my students, as medical professionals, we are often advised to be kind to patients, right? But I tell the doctors that we should be kind to yourself as well, because you have been preparing very hard. Maybe certain days you have not prepared well, that's okay. So please be kind to yourself. And in the next couple of days, moments of panic bound to happen. Yes, you will have moments where you are panicking, you feel that I'm not able to control my emotions. Whenever you have got that thought, just think of the effort that you have put over the last several months. Be proud of that. At least you have given a good effort, right? So just think of that. You may have limitations. You may have had limitations over the last several months. Maybe not the best effort you might not have put, but still you have put in effort and have that self respect. And I think that is very important at this time. Okay, and whenever you have these moments of panic, just take deep breaths, and just calm yourself down. Now, something very important that just want to tell you is regarding your sleep. Well, for the next couple of days, please sleep on time. At least some of you will have difficulty in sleeping. But again, whenever such negative thoughts come in, which is likely to disturb your sleep, surround yourself with positivity. Think of the positive things, like the effort that you have put over the last several months. Yes, it might take longer to sleep for many of you. Maybe you are in the bed for the next 2 3 hours, you're not still not getting sleep. It might happen, but that's okay. It happens with many people. Do not have any further apprehensions on that. Okay, now, no self doubts, but self respect for the effort. That's what all of you should be having here. Okay, now let me just tell you that suppose you have gone to the exam hall, okay, on August 3rd, August 2nd night, you're trying to sleep, you're not getting sleep. And suppose you have just slept for 1 hour, or maybe you have not even properly slept at all for the exam, and you go to the NEET PG exam thinking that, oh God, I've just not slept. What if this affects my performance? I've heard all faculties telling me that sleep is very important, but I've just not slept properly on the day before the exam. But again, remember, I personally know many candidates, many toppers who have done well on the day of the exam despite not having adequate sleep. And this happens because even though you have not slept properly, your sympathetic drive will actually get through. it'll help you get through the exam. That's what I want to tell you. So try to sleep on time, but if at all you couldn't get enough sleep, do not worry, the sympathetic drive will get you forward. Okay. Now when you wake up on the day of the exam, August 3rd, again have that winning assumption that I always talk about. Today is the day which will help me in manifesting my dream. I want to be a physician, and today's exam will help me in that. That's what you have to think. Now August 3rd, all of you remember, you please be not on time for the exam, ahead of time, because anticipate some roadblocks or something of that sort. You have to be ahead of time. You do not want to rush at the last minute to the exam hall, and please take care of that. Okay. Now when you reach the exam hall on August 3rd, okay, I'm just giving you some tips on the mindset that you should have on the exam day. Now when you go to the exam hall, you see many candidates are going through their notes or maybe some coaching app. You see so many candidates, unfamiliar environment, but this unfamiliar environment should not make you uncomfortable. Okay. Because as I said, look, you have to do well on the day of August 3rd exam, and you just believe that God is going to help you for that, just like that. Okay. So the unfamiliar environment is the same for everyone. Everyone comes and write the exam in the unfamiliar environment. Nobody is giving this particular exam at the comfort of his or her home. So it's the same for everyone. Okay. Now just how to handle the time. Okay, I just want to tell you that for NEET PG, as you all know, that you have got 200 questions, and these questions are divided into blocks, 5 sections, 40 questions each, and each block of 42 minutes. Now though each block is of 42 minutes, I want all my children to have target of 35 minutes, which means when you attempt each block, just have a thought that you've got 35 minutes in hand. Because sometimes what can happen is that if you are just keeping the time as 42 or the target as 42, then what happens is, if at all you have certain questions for review, you may not get time to review it properly. So just imagine that, okay, I'll try to finish it in 35 minutes. And again, when you write the exam, every 10 minutes, just have a time check, because time management is very crucial. And most crucial part is the first block. That's what I will tell you. The first block is very crucial, because when it comes uh, when it comes to the exam, what happens is, the first block, you might be a bit nervous. You're just getting adjusted to the exam atmosphere. So what might happen is, the initial, say, 7 8 questions, you might take say 10 minutes or so. It's okay, but again, you will have to catch up. You will have to catch up. That's what I want to tell you, because I've seen many candidates, even for the INICT exam as well, the first block being crucial, and many students having a problem with time management in the first set or the first block. So after the first 10 minutes, just have a look whether you're on track. If you are lagging a bit, please catch up. It should be taken as a warning. Okay. Now when you read the questions for the exam, something that I've always done as a student is, when you read an MCQ, you go for a focused, relaxed read. I've just coined it myself, a focused, relaxed read. You should be focused and you should be relaxed, not panicking. Why do I say focused? Is because when you read an MCQ, the first reading is always the best read. I've seen many candidates making a mistake, like first read, they give a casual read and then they read it again. See, we do not have time to waste. And we all know that NEET PG pattern is very unpredictable, unlike INICT. So it might be a paper with a lot of factual questions, or it might be a paper with a lot of clinical scenario questions. You may have long stem scenarios. We never know with NEET PG, because believe me, it is very unpredictable. But again, nothing to panic. If you have prepared reasonably well, you will be able to do well. Just trust yourself and go with a positive mindset. Okay, so you go for a focused, relaxed read, and when you read in the first go itself, try to find out the buzzwords in the question. This is very, very important. See, even if it is a long stem question, you will definitely have certain buzzwords, and these buzzwords will actually give you a clue regarding the diagnosis. If I give you an example, just imagine the scenario of a patient of say they're asking you a question on cardiomyopathy. If they're asking about a patient who's young, footballer, sudden death, yes, you all know it. It is going to be hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. You've already picked up the buzzwords, but the stem of the question might be, a longer one. It's about picking up these buzzwords. But if you have a slightly elderly person who's maybe a diabetic, and the histopathology is shown of the cardiac muscle showing the pink the amorphous hyaline, which might represent the amyloid, then you will have to think about restrictive cardiomyopathy. So that's what I'm telling you. You have to pick up the buzzwords, and for that you will have to have a focused, relaxed read. And always remember, for long stem scenario question, you read the last line first. This is very, very important. Long stem questions, last line should be read first, ideally. Okay. Now, that'll help you in understanding what the examiner is trying to ask, and it'll actually cut short the effort that you're going to put in while reading the rest of the questions. If you have got a question with no idea at all, or at least a partial idea, you can go for a guess, but always remember, the first guess is usually the best guess. The first guess is usually the best guess. Many students ask me, sir, I always feel like changing the answer, sir. What is your take on changing the answer? Should I change or not? What I'll suggest to you is that, look, you can change in certain scenarios only, because as far as possible, you try to go with your first guess. But suppose you have missed out a buzzword which you have got in the second reading, then you can probably think of changing your answer in case you have missed out a buzzword. Or secondly, you have totally misinterpreted a particular question. For example, you did not notice an all except in the question. In that case also you can change. Otherwise, it is better to stick to the one. Okay, right. And I've seen again candidates panicking when they miss questions of a block. For example, just assume that the first block was a lengthy block. Now, in that case, what happens is sometimes you might miss out on two questions. That is, you did not get time to go through the last two questions. Now, this can unsettle you. When you go to the second block, you will have that thought looping in your mind, oh, I've missed two questions of the first block. I should have got it. And this will affect your performance for block two. So always remember, even if you have missed out a couple of questions, by some unluck, still think that, those questions might have been some tough questions. Let that go. Maybe even if I've written that, it would have been a negative. So you just forget it. But if you carry forward the baggage of a previous question, suppose you have missed out the question of a block, or maybe you've forgotten, but do not carry forward that baggage. You have to attend each question with a good presence of mind. I always tell my student, the first question and the last question should be answered with the same focus and energy level. That is a sign of a good candidate. Okay, right. Now, another point I want to tell you is, as you all know, that for the correct response, you get 4 marks. Incorrect response, 1 mark will be deducted. Unattempted, 0. And for NEET PG, according to the prospectus, you can see that candidates may note that questions which are marked for review shall be evaluated as per the marking scheme. So if you have marked something for review, if you have not got time to come back again, it still will be counted. It still will be counted is what I want to tell you. Okay. But again, many students ask me, sir, how many questions can I keep for review? Generally, I tell students, in a block, max 5-6 questions. Because sometimes what can happen is that, you keep many questions for review. In the end, you will not get time to finish the block. So max 5 to 6 questions. If you see a particular question, long stem question, you're almost sure of the answer, it's better that you commit then and there. Because if you keep it for review again, and then if you want to come back and read it all again, it might actually take more time. So if you have got a reasonable confidence, you please mark it as what I would say. Do not keep too many questions for review. Okay. Now, in general, for any NEET PG paper, in general, you might see that around 120 questions are going to be easy. Easy in the sense that for a candidate who has spent a good 8-10 months for preparation will be able to answer around 120 questions. 50 to 60 questions will be of moderate difficulty level, and 20 questions will be relatively tough. This is the usual pattern. And yes, NAT board is, you cannot believe the NAT board, but this is what usually happens. Now, what I want to tell you is watch out for those 50 to 60 moderate difficulty level questions. Why do I say that? Because see, the easier questions are usually usually simple, in the sense that you see the question, you're able to answer. It's like reflexly you can answer. But the 50 to 60 questions will require a critical thinking, and this is very important, because if I ask you what is the screening test for SLE, what is your answer? You might tell that anti-nuclear antibody. Even if you have not slept the day before, you will still be able to say anti-nuclear antibody. But for those 50 to 60 questions which will require a critical thinking, that is when your mindset will come into play. Believe me, my dear students, it is not just about knowledge that matters on the D-Day. If you are calm, composed, relaxed, it will definitely help you. If you are relaxed itself, the same thing, if you are relaxed, that itself will fetch you some correct answers. Okay, irrespective of your knowledge. Believe me when I say this. Okay, so those 50 to 60 questions, you will have to think with a calm, relaxed mind. Okay, now another point I want to tell you is, what if there is a crisis in the exam hall, in the sense that this is a very tough paper, absolutely crazy NEET PG paper. Assume if there is a crisis, or maybe block 1 is very, very tough. This should not put you into a crisis, because always remember, even in a crisis there is an opportunity. If at all there is a crisis, I want my children to think that, look, I know this is not a paper that I expected, but I'm sure there will still be easy questions. Maybe the number of tough questions are more, but still there will be easy questions. But if you panic, you will get those easy questions also wrong. So if there is a crisis, that means there is a crisis for every candidate, not just yourself. So that is what I want you to understand. Even if it is a crisis, you still can go through it. Now, crisis can be not just in the form that I just told you about. It can be like in a scenario of a clustering of tough questions. Let me give you an example. Suppose you are giving block 1, and say, for example, question number 7, 8, 9, and 10 are very tough, and you have got absolutely no clue. This is the first set you're giving, and in the first 10 questions, you are having 4 questions in a stretch, continuous, for which you do not know the answer. Now, there is a very good chance that if this scenario comes to a candidate, it might really destabilize him. He might think, oh my God, in spite of putting all this effort, the exam is not going my way. I think I'm going to mess this up. My dear students, did I not tell you that in every paper you will have 20 tough questions? Now, if there are 20 tough questions, there is a good chance that maybe these, tough questions might be clustered at some place. But if the clustering of those tough questions destabilizes you, that is going to affect the preparation for the rest of the paper. So I want my children to have a calm mind, whatever be the paper, easy, moderate, or tough. It can be easy, it can be moderate, it can be tough. But whatever comes your way, the mind should be calm, and that will help you to have an optimal performance. Now, many students ask me, sir, when I go to the exam hall, what should I be praying for? You might pray, sir, I should get questions that I know about. But I always tell my students, you pray to God that I put my effort, allow me to give an optimal performance, which means the knowledge that I have, whatever knowledge I have, if I can put it into the questions. So for that, your mindset is very important, dear children. That is very, very important. So do not panic, stay calm and relaxed. Another point I want to tell you is, sometimes what happens is, when you attempt these questions, you will see a few very simple questions. For example, which of the following is a calcium channel blocker? And they're giving you, some options. And then you might think, oh my God, this question is too simple to be a NEET PG question. And you might overthink. My dear students, please understand that you will have certain simple dolly questions also in the exam. So do not overthink and complicate. And not just that, when you get a simple question, remember, a simple question is not only an opportunity to get 4 marks, it is an opportunity to save time for another tough question. Because if you see a simple question like this, you have got to answer in 5 seconds. Because then that would save time for the next tough question. That is what you have got to understand. But many a times what happens is that you see a simple question, you are overthinking, you again look at the question, you again read the question, trying to assure yourself that, okay, this is exactly what the question is trying to convey. And in the end, you take maybe 1 minute or more than that to read even a simple question. So it should not happen. You have to strike fast. Okay. And many students are asking me in the comment section, sir, how many questions to attempt. What I would tell you is that a good candidate usually attempts over 185 questions. Now, if you ask me, sir, what if the paper is tough? See, if the paper is very tough, maybe you can adjust the number accordingly. But when you go to the exam hall, you have to have an aggressive mindset with a positive attitude. Because when I went to the exam hall, I was going to the exam hall with an attitude of of thinking that, okay, let me just write all the 200 questions. Yeah, that's what I'll go to the exam hall with, because if I go with a defensive mindset, then what happens is that I'll be more suspicious when I read each question. So you please trust your ability, trust your knowledge, knowledge that you have gained over the last several months, or maybe even during your MBBS days. Those bit of knowledge also will come into play. So you will have to trust yourself, is what I would say. You will have to be aggressive. And if you're able to eliminate two options and you're able to bring it down to two options, well, I would take a chance. Okay. But if I've got absolutely no idea about a particular question and options, then maybe not. But otherwise, if I'm able to narrow down to two options, I'll take a chance. And usually the first guess is the best guess. Okay. Right. And the last bit of advice that I want to give all my students is, in the exam hall, again, I'm reiterating, a calm mind thinks better, recollects better, and answers better. If you can go to the exam hall with a calm, relaxed, and happy mind, trusting your abilities, going to the exam hall thinking that whatever be the type of questions that come my way, I'll try my best for an optimal performance. And do not get distracted by anything that happens in the internal or external environment. What is that? Suppose you go to the exam hall, there is some noise going around here. Let that not destabilize you. Suppose you're having these negative thoughts, let that not destabilize you. Any such thought coming to your mind, just ask yourself, look, is this something that is under my control? Suppose you think that I've not done adequate preparation. Can I do any further preparation now? No. So if it is not under your control, then why are you thinking about that variable? So my dear students, just stay calm and relaxed. That's what I want to tell all of my dear children. I'll quickly take any questions in the chat box. Vishnu is asking how many questions that I've already answered. uh, Vaidyanath is asking, sir, I'm not understanding which subject to revise now. What to do? I'm getting anxiety. What I would suggest to you is that if you have made a choti copy of your most volatile topics. When I was a student, I used to forget all these biochemistry cycles and enzymes, all those random PSF stuff. Just go through them. What is your weak point? You better know that. I think you just go through that. And my dear student, please don't do an active recall now. Very, very important. Many students, what they do is that they try to think, okay, they try to recollect. Please understand, this is the time just for passive reading, not for active recall. Because what you're going to write is not a theory exam, it is an MCQ exam. The answer is in front of you. If the answer is in front of you, when you see the stem of the question, you will be able to recollect. So do not panic about it. Okay. So Shailesh is asking, I have a habit of marking up to 10 questions for review, and I kind of comfortable with, sometimes I can be nervous. So Shailesh, for every block, no, as far as possible, 5 to 6 questions for review, as far as possible, and except in the scenario of a very tough paper. But do not keep too much questions for review. Okay. Shailesh is asking, tomorrow are you taking part 3 recall live? Yes, Dr. Achut, I'll be taking part 3 of the system wise recall tomorrow at 2 p.m. Okay, Dr. Achut. Any further questions? Uh, any further questions? Right. So that's it. This is what I want to tell you. If you're watching this session later, you can just if you have got any query to ask me, you can message me in Instagram. My Instagram ID is dr underscore Rahul underscore Rajeev. Dr underscore Rahul underscore Rajeev is my Instagram ID. And yes, I want all of you to go through the system wise recall. This is something you should definitely watch. I've already taken 2 sessions. The third session is coming up tomorrow. Okay, because those are arranged system wise. Very important questions of NEET PG 2024. And I think you should be watching the session. Definitely, yes. Okay. Vineet, tomorrow, please also say, I'll definitely try to in the session. So thank you so much for joining everyone. And that's it for the session. Achut, Hima, thank you everyone for joining. Yeah, Shailesh, yeah, thank you so much. Glad that you like the session. So all the best to all my dear students attempting the NEET PG. And we'll also be doing a recall session immediately after the exam as well, including first insights. So just stay tuned to this YouTube channel of Doc Tutorials for the further sessions, for the recall sessions as well. So thank you so much everyone for joining, and bye-bye. Yeah, so this is the and also we'll be having a session tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be having with all faculties, just to wish you good luck, and all of you can join tomorrow in the same channel, Doc Tutorials YouTube channel, the final charge, with all the faculties giving you the last bit of advices before you go to the exam hall. So thank you so much, Monica, Gokul, Nikita, Sheila, Jivita, Matthew, Vineet, Jitu, Shailesh, Hima. Thank you so much everyone for joining, and all the best for the exams. Thank you so much.